Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Sandra Esinam Afen when I'm here for business. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says government is committed to reducing the suffering of Ghanaians through several social intervention programs. Speaking at a rally organized by the youth wing of the governing NPP at Obopu in the eastern region, Dr. Bawumia says government has so far employed 350,000 people in the public sector since the ban on employment was lifted.
Electricity tariffs, we have reduced it by 17.5% for households and 30% for industries. We have capitation grants, we have doubled it from 4.5 Ghana cedis to 10 Ghana cedis. Nation Builders Corps, 100,000 graduates have been hired. The freeze on public employment is over. We have hired about 350,000 people. We have increased the share of the District Assembly Common Fund payable to the disabled by 50%. We have ensured the implementation of our pledge of employing 50% of persons who manage the country's toll booths from among persons with disabilities. We have expanded LEAP by 150,000. We have expanded school feeding by 500,000 beneficiaries. We have restored teacher training allowance. We have restored nursing training allowance. We have abolished the excise duty on petroleum. We have started to address the needs of Zongo communities through the Zongo Development Fund. We have restored macroeconomic stability. We have increased economic growth. We have saved the deposits of 1.5 million depositors who would have otherwise lost their savings if the banks had collapsed.
Let's do other stories now. The Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy has commended the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation for ensuring value for money for projects executed by the GNPC Foundation in the Western region. The Africa Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, recently criticized the GNPC's decision to spend $43.5 million on corporate social responsibility for 2019. However, during a recent visit by the Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy to some of GNPC's project sites in the region, Chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Akwesi-Gyamfi, justified the company's expenditure.
The Parliamentary Select Committee on Mines and Energy have commended the GNPC Foundation for the prudent and impactful investment taken within their corporate social responsibility across the country. The chairman of the committee, Emmanuel Akwesi-Gyamfi, addressing the press after a working visit on some projects being undertaken by the GNPC Foundation in the Western region, Honorable Gyamfi stressed that requests for a raise in their budgetary allocation are justified given the evidence of quality and impact of social investments across the country.
And so far, so good. What we've seen today, we have gotten the report in Accra, but we wanted to come down and verify and feel what is actually going on. And we are very much impressed. Last year, their budget was about 28 million USD. This year, because of the good work they are doing, we've given them 43 million USD. So that answers your question. If next year we see the kind of projects they are implementing and they come to ask for more, I believe committee members and Parliament as a whole will grant that. I have said that the best way to distribute the oil revenue is to make everybody feel that he is having something in his local community, and that's what GNPC Foundation is doing.
Executive Director for GNPC Foundation, Dr. Dominic Kwesi Edua, disclosed that the success they have chalked with these investments are due to a more rigorous and strategic monitoring and evaluation and commitments demonstrated by contractors working on the projects. He, however, admitted upon complaints by contractors that the pricing of contracts are relatively unattractive, and that's needed to be reviewed.
I won't give the credit to my monitoring and evaluation team. I think the contractors have done a very good job within schedule, because it's one thing that we don't joke with at the foundation. Quality of work, superb, as recommended by most of the MPs who are here. I think the only issue they raised was the costs, which they feel that is low, that we need to review it upwards. It's something that we'll consider and look at it.
Board member of the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, Lionel Senso, has called for an increase in private sector investment into agriculture. He said it is imperative for private sector investors to put in more money to boost the fortunes of the sector in sub-Saharan Africa.
Lionel Senso said Africa has seen unprecedented growth and adoption of digital technologies and has an opportunity to leapfrog the agricultural transformation trajectory of the past. He explained the choice of Ghana as host of this year's forum.
Ghana is a very important country for AGRA. AGRA has been created by Kofi Annan just after his tenure as UN Secretary General. And in 2010, Accra, for the first time, hosted the first forum. So in a sense, it's just coming back home to be in Ghana. But in the meantime, the home has changed. You see dramatic progress in terms of agriculture efficiency and performance and yield, and structured policies in terms of agriculture. So it's a perfect host country. In a sense, in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, agriculture is so important that it is the key for youth employment, and it is the key for reducing poverty. If you want inclusive growth, you have to focus far more on agriculture. A few countries are emblematic of that. Ghana is one of them. Rwanda. So you have every reason to invite people to think about this priority in a country where the priority exists in kind, concretely.
Mr. Senso, who is also the former Prime Minister for Benin, noted private investment in agriculture must show up.
So before the beginning of the years 2000, private sector was not in the nucleus, in the core of the public policies. So the governments have now to consider that small farmers are the private sector. Informal sector is a private sector which has to be respected, even if it's informal. Small and medium companies, more formal, are essential participants, but you need a coalition, you need an action together. And the foundations, some of the financial partners of development have to interact. But you know, as of today, agriculture remains only 8% of the portfolio of our largest financial institution, which is the African Development Bank. 8%. In my country, Benin, credit to agriculture is 2% of total credit. In Ghana, it's a bit more than 4% of credit allocation. The problem is that agriculture is 25% of the GDP. In Ghana, like in Benin, and 50% of employment, but 2% or 4% of the credit. So we have to cause all the players to act differently and collectively, and to share the best practices.
And let's do more business news. The Middle Belt Development Authority is partnering with traditional authorities and communities under its jurisdiction to develop job creation initiative. Chief Executive Joe Dankwa says the authority will rely on chiefs for land to execute the programs, mainly in agriculture. He spoke to Joy News when management paid a courtesy call on Asantehene Otumfuo II as part of his 20th anniversary in Kumasi. Nanaya Ajima has more in this report.
Middle Belt Development Authority is expected to be a vehicle to fast-track development in the Ashanti, Eastern, Bono and Ahafo regions. Agribusiness will receive attention in order to deal with challenges that make it unattractive for the youth so they can feed factories to be developed under government industrialization program. Mr. Dankwa says the focus on the youth and agriculture makes the program different.
We want to develop what we call agribusiness centers. We will organize farmers, we will train them, we will support them, we will support farmers to engage in farming activities. And as you know, lands are owned by chiefs, and therefore to get land, we have to partner with him so that we can get the needed land for this agric project. And then I gave him general development. You need to develop on land. They are the landowners. So there's no way you can sideline the traditional authorities within the belt.
He also cites poor sanitation as another area to receive attention. Mr. Dankwa reviews the role of chiefs in the sanitation program.
Thank you. Fortunately for us, we have a board and Asantehene has a rep on it. The executive secretary to the king is a member of the board. So we have that collaboration. Then two, we are looking at transforming waste into energy. We will count on the Asantehene a lot to implement this project. We want to clean Kumasi and we want to transform the waste that is generated within the populace.
Management made a donation in support of Otumfuo's 20th anniversary. Nanaya Ojima reporting.
Time now for the local news summaries, and top in the news tonight, the National Petroleum Authority is to employ technology to curtail the operations of petroleum fraudsters in the country. Details next.
Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA, Hassan Tambuli, says the NPA is exploring various options, especially in the area of technology, to curtail operations of petroleum fraudsters in the country. The NPA in February this year confiscated petroleum products smuggled into the country, which is estimated to be about 1 million Ghana cedis. The Upper West Regional Secretariat of the National Youth Authority harvested 1,022 bags of maize last year under the Youth in Planting for Food and Jobs program introduced to ensure food security and boost job creation. The National Youth Authority supported 120 youth in the region in a pilot project under the Planting for Food and Jobs initiative in 2018 to cultivate 120 acres of maize. The Bank of Ghana is in a weaker position to ensure that the cedi depreciates at predictable and sustainable rates against its foreign currencies, a retired Deputy Governor Emmanuel Esedumante has observed. According to him, the bank has fewer options that it could employ to counter any steep fall in the value of the local currency against its foreign counterparts, particularly the US dollar.
In commodity news, crude oil is sold at $73.86 a barrel today, with gold going for $1,274.82 an ounce. Details coming up next. Let's do some international business news now. And former Nissan boss Carlos Ghosn has been indicted by prosecutors in Japan on a fresh charge of aggravated breach of trust. Details coming up in international news.
Samsung has postponed 2 launch events for its folding smartphones days after several early reviewers said the screens on their devices had broken. In April, Samsung let several reviewers, including the BBC, try its new Galaxy Fold smartphone, but some found their folding display broke after just a few days. Former Nissan boss Carlos Ghosn has been indicted by prosecutors in Japan on a fresh charge of aggravated breach of trust. It is the 4th charge brought against Mr. Ghosn and relates to the alleged misuse of company funds. The 65-year-old is in detention in Tokyo and his lawyers have applied for bail.
Let's do more stories. And scores of children within some slums in Accra have been treated by workers of Electroland Ghana Limited. They distributed food and drinks to mark the Easter celebrations. Charles Haiti interacted with the head of public relations and marketing at Electroland Ghana, Adisa Ibrahim, who explained the motive behind the corporate social responsibility.
Easter came at a very good time for so many young children here at Fadama in Accra, all by the purposes of Electroland Ghana Limited as part of their corporate social responsibility. I'm here with Adisa Ibrahim, and she is the head of marketing and public relations at Electroland, and she's here to help us understand the motive behind this particular service. So first of all, what indeed premised your decision at Electroland to have such children, receive these gifts from your company?
Thank you very much. At Electroland, giving back to the society is a must. My MD will tell you it's a must. We don't have second thoughts when it comes to giving to the society. And for this Easter, we thought about the fact that each time when people come and seek for sponsorship, it's for the case electronics, but we are like, this case, most of them haven't even gotten to the stage of using these electronics and appliances. For instance, I give you a kettle or an iron in the name of a child. No, it's the parent that is going to use. So this time we are looking at touching the kids themselves. We want to touch their lives. We want to make them smile. Any kid that will have a chicken thigh, a chicken wing, a rice, and a drink and water.
And happy Easter to everyone watching us from home. And that's how we wrap up tonight on Business with me, Sandra S. Namap. And you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business for more business updates.